So once more, let me welcome you all to the Sunday Gita class. Today is day 1. The last class was introductory, and I have just made it Gita for all because the lesson is actually relevant to everyone. Okay, so I just would like to have Tanpura playing on the background. Just a minute. This will help us to just get tuned when we recite the shlokas. So 9:30 to 10:10 we will have the class with some verses and the stories, and from 10:10 I want you to join the Zoom again because the Zoom will end in 40 minutes. I want you to join again, and then in the second round we will be chanting and we will do the verse practice. Okay, so before I begin, once more let me remember all my gurus so that I am able to do the best possible for in today's class. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. And then we'll do the Panchatattva Mahamantra. Okay, it goes like this. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this one I would like all of you to do it once with me. Could you all just say it once with me, the Mahamantra? You can put your hands like this. Put your hands up in the air and say Hare Krishna Say Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Alright. So next let's once more just revise what is the Bhagavad-Gita. So Bhagavad-Gita is an epic scripture that has answers to all our problems. It is considered as a spiritual dictionary by Mahatma Gandhi because, and not only by Mahatma Gandhi, by lots of leaders across the planet. They take inspiration from the Gita. When was the Gita spoken? It's a very ancient text. Actually, Lord Krishna, he explained this system of yoga. Gita actually teaches you a system of yoga. To whom did he teach? To the sun god Vivaswan. About 12 million years ago, which we can't even imagine that many years. But slowly the science as it appears was lost, and then Krishna again told the same science. It's a science also. It's a yoga and it's a science of how to live life. He taught that to Arjuna. Where did he teach that? In the battlefield of the Mahabharata War, and that was 5,000 years ago. Right? So, what is Bhagavad-Gita? It's a jewel of the Mahabharata. Remember last time I had told you that the Mahabharata epic, the Bhagavad-Gita comes actually as a part of the Mahabharata epic. Bhagavad-Gita, yes, you remember? Yes, I hope. Yeah, you can please unmute and ask me questions if you have anything. But it's better you keep your questions. Keep your questions on the side, and then you can ask me in the second Zoom session also. So we have 2 Zoom sessions. Okay. Yeah, Gagan is also waiting to be entered. Yeah. Right. So the Bhagavad-Gita means it's a song. Gita is song and Bhagavan is God. This I had told you last time also. And the whole Gita is actually a dialogue. It's a conversation between Krishna and his friend. That is Arjuna, who is a Pandava prince. Not only friend, he's also his cousin. So Arjuna is and this whole thing is happening in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It's all about life, living, our relationships, our duties, our habits, and so many more. So there are 18 chapters in the Bhagavad-Gita. as you can see, there are, the yoga of Vishada Yoga, Samkhya Yoga, Karma Yoga. We'll do all these chapters slowly. Through the year, we will learn all these wonderful yogas. But let me tell you, the most beautiful and important yoga is actually the Bhakti Yoga, which comes in chapter 12. So around the middle, you can see the Bhakti Yoga comes. Why is Bhakti Yoga in the middle like that? So I have taken some of the slides from the so many Gita classes that I have been attending. This is Hemant Prabhuji's slide. And he says, why is Bhakti in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita? That's because it is the biggest secret. And Bhakti is actually the essence and the goal of all the Shastras. The Shastras are all the scriptures that we have. It's the heart. So Bhakti Yoga actually gives life to all the other yogas, whether it is Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga. So Gita is about the yogas I told you, and Bhakti Yoga is the heart, and it comes in the middle of the Gita. So in the beginning we will not be coming to know so much, but towards the middle, when we reach, suppose middle of this year, maybe around August, September, we will be able to understand the Bhakti Yoga in the chapter 12 and around that. So it is about respect and love. Not only to some people whom we know, but just openly to all. And Bhakti is so precious and important, and that is why it is protected like a king. So before we move to the Gita, let us understand a little bit about the Mahabharata's family tree, which is the Kuru dynasty. Alright? So this is the history of the Kuru dynasty. Now this is, you can see the screen. So we have all these kings. I will not go into detail of King Shantanu and then Bhishma, his son, and then his two sons from another wife called Satyavati. And we have Vichitravirya's sons are Dhritarashtra and Pandu, and also Vidur. So Dhritarashtra and Pandu you need to understand. The others now we will do it in slowly in small stories as we go. So we have mainly these two brothers. Dhritarashtra is actually the eldest son and Pandu was the second son. But Dhritarashtra was blind, and someone who was bodily defective was considered to be not fit for the throne. So what happened? Pandu was actually the one who was fit to be to take the throne. However, what happened? Pandu had a curse, and due to some unfortunate reasons, he died early. And when he died, actually his sons are supposed to be the king, Pandu's sons. So there are two brothers, as you can see, Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Dhritarashtra was blind, he can't be the king. Pandu became the king. Now when Pandu died early, actually Pandu's children are the rightful heir of the throne. Pandu's children, who are Yudhishthira, Bhim, Arjuna from Kunti, and his second wife Nakul and Sahadev from Madri. So they were supposed to be the rightful kings after Pandu died, but they were very small children. When their father Pandu died, they were small children. So Dhritarashtra was the one who ruled just temporarily. Now let's look at the background over here. What happened is, why this whole Mahabharata war happened? Dhritarashtra started having a feeling that why should my brother Pandu's children be the king? Why can't it be my sons? So here we can see politics. Politics is always there, right? And all these feelings are called, enviousness, jealousy. These are all negative and low feelings which are common to everyone. In this material world, you feel jealous sometimes, you feel envious sometimes. So Dhritarashtra also, he was thinking, why should the Pandu sons be the king? My sons should be the king. Also his own son, Duryodhana, his eldest son, was very, he was very jealous of the Pandavas because they were righteous, they were always doing the right things, they were very dutiful, and they were very obedient, and also very strong and powerful. So Duryodhana was also very jealous, and he would keep expressing his desire to his father that he wants to rule. Now once you become in this material world, this material world around us, these feelings happen. You feel envious, you feel jealous. But if you reach a spiritual world and you make spirituality a part of your life, you will be able to overcome these emotions. The best teaching from the Gita is you will be able to slowly lead a non-envious life. Okay, you want to lead a life like that, all of you? Would you like to be free from all these emotions of jealousy and envy? Yes, Niranjan, I can see.
Yes,
Yeah, good. So as you learn and go slowly, it cannot happen in one day. It requires so much practice, because our mind, is very naughty, like a monkey. The mind is. It will take us here and there, but if we slowly practice it and we keep the Gita's teachings in our mind, we can overcome all those emotions. Okay. So what we see is that Dhritarashtra's his sons, like I told you, they were all very jealous, and Krishna and they actually tried to kill the Pandavas many times. Many times they wanted to somehow kill by doing wrong things. So many wrong things they did. They tried to burn the Pandavas in a house of lac. Lac means, like wax. They tried to burn them. They did so many ways, and then finally they did the gambling. They called them for gambling, a game where they made them lose everything. And the Pandavas had to go into the forest for 13 years. And Kunti Mata was constantly praying to Krishna, God, please help my sons, please help my sons. They are righteous and they deserve, the best. But Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, they are always doing this. So Krishna tried many times to send. He sent once Akrura as a messenger. Akrura is in his, his companion. He sends Akrura once, and he himself also goes and tries to solve the problem. He says, look, the Pandu Putras are actually the rightful heir to the throne. They should be the king. He explained to Dhritarashtra, why are you trying to make your sons get the throne, whereas it is not correct? You should be giving the throne to Pandu's children. But they would not agree, and they would say it's okay. He knew, actually, Dhritarashtra knew that this is a wrong thing. But what happens sometimes, you thief or somebody who is doing a wrong thing, it's not like he doesn't know. He knows that he's doing a wrong thing, but still he is unable to control himself because of somebody is annotating. Let me just remove.
Ma'am, from mistake I have done.
Alright, no problem. I'll just make sure you don't do it again. So I'll just go to the settings and disable annotation. Alright. So what happens is that people, it's not like when you do something wrong you don't know. The Rashtra also very well knows that it is wrong, but he still wants to take away the kingdom. Now when you read the Gita, you need to learn from it, because you learn from experience of others and from the message of God. Otherwise, some people who are still very greedy, or they still have some desires, or they are not able to understand the message of Gita, they will not be able to learn anything. So you must have your mind frame that let me keep an open mind and learn what Krishna has to say. So that is the background of the Gita. And no, I haven't finished about the background. So what I told you was Dhritarashtra could not agree, and finally there was no other choice but to go for the war. And that is how the whole lot of armies, they get together, lot of soldiers, they get together. So there is a slide in which there is a description of that how many. So many of those armies and so many kings, they get together on both sides, and it's a huge war. So this is the first chapter beginning. It's called Arjuna's Yoga of Lamentation, and like I told you, once the big armies have come there, how Arjuna feels Vishada, he feels a feeling of lamentation, and that is how the Gita is spoken. So in this first chapter, there are basically 4 things happening. In shlokas 1 to 11, the whole scene of the war is brought forward. And then, so today we will try to cover shlokas 1 to 10. I will not teach you all the shlokas, only important ones, okay? So we will be doing mainly the first shloka for learning, and the others we'll just go through. And then from verse 12 to 20, we come to know how the Pandava army is stronger because of Krishna's presence, and so many other signs show us how actually the Pandava army is stronger. Then from verse 21 to 27, we come to know how the Lord loves his devotees, and then we come to know about how miseries of life come and how we can face them. So this is how the we will be doing chapter 1 slowly. Today we will only be doing setting the scene. And in this part of the Gita, the first part of the Gita, we come to know about Dhritarashtra's mindset. What is his mindset? And we also come to know about Duryodhana's mindset. So I want you to listen carefully. Okay? So this is another way of looking at it. In the first verse, Dhritarashtra asks the first question. He has only one shloka in the whole Gita, only one verse, and that is the first verse where he is asking. And just from that one question that Dhritarashtra asks, we come to know so much about Dhritarashtra's character. We'll see how it is, okay? And then from 2nd to 10th, we will study about Duryodhana's emotions. These two things we'll be doing today, 1 to 11, but today I'll be doing 1 to 10. Alright? So, let's begin with the first verse of the Gita. I want you all to repeat after me, or first you listen and then you repeat, okay? Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamakaha pandavaschaiva kimakurvata sanjaya. Just repeat after me once, all of you. Dhritarashtra uvacha. Say.
Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre.
Repeat. Yeah. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre. Samaveta yuyutsava. Mamaka pandavaschaiva. Kimakurvata sanjaya. Right. So let's look at what all we come to know about Dhritarashtra. We come to know that Dhritarashtra is doubtful. From this question he is asking, look what he is asking. He is asking that having assembled together, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre means Kurukshetra is the battlefield. The name of the place where the Mahabharata War took place is called Kurukshetra, and it is a very holy place. Okay, the place where the battle took place is a very holy place. Holy means it has got a history which I won't go into so much detail, but it has a history that in that place anything that takes place, the righteous will win, the good will win. So it is called a Dharma Kshetra. Okay, it is a very special place. Samaveta means gathered. They have assembled. Yuyutsava, those who are, Yuyutsava means very desirous to fight. Even in Japanese there's a word like that. Yuyutsu, some jujutsu or something like that. So it's
jujutsu.
Yes, Arya, good, you know that. So all who has come into the Dharma Kshetra, in that Kurukshetra, all those who are desirous to fight, they have come there. Mamaka, my people, and Pandavaschaiva, and the sons of Pandu also have come there. Kimakurvata, what did they do? So in this question, we come to know every word that someone speaks, actually, we come to know so much. Now look at Dhritarashtra's mindset. What are the three things that we know about Dhritarashtra? He is doubtful, first. Second, he is fearful, he is scared, and he is partial. He is not fair. Actually, he is a king. A king should be fair to everyone. But he is partial. And he is scared. And he is doubtful. So how do we know that he is doubtful? How do we know that Dhritarashtra is doubtful? Because he is asking the question, Kimakurvata, what did they do? right? So after all these Kauravas and Pandavas has come there into the Kurukshetra, he is thinking that did they probably have a doubt that why should we fight, because it's a Dharma Kshetra? Did my son's mind change? Because he was very greedy, he wanted his sons to fight and win the throne, and so he did not want that the war should not happen. So he was doubtful, and he was suddenly asking, did they change their mind? What happened? So here we come to know about his doubtful mind. Now how do we know that he's fearful? Now anybody, when he is doing something unfair, it's usually because of attachment. When you get attached, then you start becoming unfair. And the Gita will teach us slowly, as you will study the Gita with me, you will slowly be able to overcome that attachment. Attachment is, too much of attachment is not like a love, like a holy feeling. It's like, an attachment which makes you unfair to the others, right? So that attachment was there, and Dhritarashtra is in all of us. Don't think that, oh, Dhritarashtra is a bad man. No, the kind of doubtful, fearful, partial, attached to their own son and own children, that is there in everyone. Most of us have to have these emotions, and when you do unfair things because of your attachment, he loves his son so much, and Dhritarashtra is so attached to his son that it makes him do wrong things, and that makes him fearful. That is the reason why he is fearful. So we come to know a life lesson that to the extent one is sinful, to that extent he is fearful. That means the more and more sinful things you keep on doing, the more and more fearful you become. And don't keep on imagining that they are very wrong or bad, okay? This is human tendencies because of so many gunas, which we will learn in Gita. So slowly we'll come and understand all that. Attachment and anxiety. The more attached you are, the more anxious you will be, the more fearful you will be. If you have trust in Krishna, you don't have to be fearful, right? So we learn that. And he is partial. I explained to you how Dhritarashtra is doubtful, why he is fearful at the beginning of the war, and why he is partial. Look at the line he said. He said, what happened, Sanjaya? My sons and sons of Pandu. So he is not able to think of all of them as his. He is partial. He has a mentality of me and mine and Pandu. So he's not like a fair king. He's not able to behave like a king should behave. Now Sanjaya is replying. Sanjaya is able to understand what is the Dhritarashtra's fear. He knows that Dhritarashtra is very scared. Will the war happen or not? He wants it to happen. So he tries to make him calm. He says, Sanjaya is replying here. Now from this verse onwards, we will not say the verses. I'll just tell you the meanings. Only the ones which you will learn, we will recite it. So having seen the Pandava army arranged in a battle, this is the second verse, okay? King Duryodhana approached Dronacharya. So what is happening is when, he had sent the Pandavas to the forest. Remember I had told you, he had done so many wrong things to Pandavas. He had sent the Pandavas to forest, and then he did not agree to give even half his kingdom. And that's why the war happened. So he was surprised to see, oh, Pandavas also have such a big army. So many big kings are there. So he was a little surprised, and he was starting to get fearful. So he slowly reached towards his teacher Dronacharya. Okay, and then he starts saying the words. The words which he says is in the verse 3. He says, O teacher, behold the great Pandava army formed in the battle order by the son of Drupada, your wise disciple. Now here, children, you need to know some stories, okay, so that you will understand better. Duryodhana is actually being very rude and very sarcastic by saying the son of Drupada and your wise disciple. I want you to think about this. Why does Duryodhana tell his teacher, look at the big army? Why does Duryodhana tell his teacher, look at this big army which is formed by the son of Drupada? Now Drupada is a very strong enemy of Drona. Drona, the teacher of Duryodhana, Actually, he is an enemy of Drupada. And Drupada's son is Drishtadyumna. So instead of saying the name of son of Drupada, he says son of Drupada just to poke his teacher. He wants to poke his teacher and tell him, look, your disciple, he only trained Drishtadyumna. Why did he train him? Because he was a good teacher. He was a kind heart. Now you'll know the story. Today's story is also going to be, I'll quickly tell you the story of how Drupada and Drona were enemies and how Duryodhana, by using this, is actually teasing him, is actually making him feel bad. So let's quickly look at the story of Drona and Drupada. Okay, so Drona and Drupada, they were the disciples. They studied in the same school kind of. Okay, so they studied from the same guru. Now you have your classmates, right? So similarly, Drona and Drupada, they were classmates. Alright, and what happened is, after many years their studies was over, it was time for them to get ready to go home. And you can see in this slide, Drupada is saying, Drona, when I become king after my father, my palace shall be your home, I promise. So when he was young, he loved his friend so much, he said, you are always welcome. And Drupada said, I shall always remember you, and I shall always remember your kind offer. You have given me such a big offer, I shall remember that. So after many years, he becomes king. Drona becomes a king because he is a king's son. And what happens to Drupada? Drupada becomes a king. And what happens to Drona? Drona, he marries Kripi, and he has a son called Ashwathama. But unfortunately, he was very, very poor. He could not even buy milk for his son. He could not even have a cow and arrange for milk for his son. And his neighbors used to make fun of him, give him milk, which, give him this, the dosha mava with water, and they say this is milk, and they would make fun of his son. It would hurt his wives and his feelings. And they decided, you have a friend like King Drupada, let's go and ask him. Let's go and take some help from him. And so at that time, Drona, he goes to King Drupada's court and he asks for support. He is actually, he just reaches there. But by the time Drupada, he is now a king, he gets scared to see Drona. Is that friend of mine going to ask me, going to sit here and ask me for the kingdom or something? Like, what is he going to ask? So he actually behaves very rudely and sends him off. See, you can see in this picture, he says, Drupada, I have come, remember your promise to me, my friend, now you can fulfill it. So he says, no, measly Brahmin. How can a measly Brahmin be a king's friend? And he insults him so badly that Drona is now decided to take revenge. So here you can see the seed of revenge begins over here. He says, how is it that Drona that Drupada can be so forget his promise? He broke his promise. He says, you broke your promise. You have insulted me. Look, my students will capture your kingdom once and fulfill my revenge. And then he folds his hands and he thanks his friend, and he goes away. Now what happens is, after some years, Dronacharya's entire life changes. He becomes the master, he becomes the guru of the Pandavas and Kauravas. Now there is another story there, but I think I'll not have time for that. So let me tell you that basically what happens is, this Dronacharya who was so...
You have 6 minutes.
Yeah, there are only 6 minutes. So let me quickly tell you this story in short, that so he becomes, after so many years, he becomes the Pandavas and Kauravas guru, and he's having a good life. And when the Pandavas and Kauravas have finished learning from Dronacharya, then he asks that, could you please give me, what is a Guru Dakshina? Pandavas and Kauravas ask him, what is a Guru Dakshina that we should give you? And he says, you can please help me by taking revenge on King Drupada. And Arjuna, mainly, they go and they defeat Drupada, and they bring him as his they bring him captive. They capture him and bring him to Drona. He says, no, don't worry, I just wanted to show you. So this is also an important learning. Never think that if you're in a high position you can always remain there. You don't know when things will change, so always stay humble. So he says that, so children, if the meeting ends, please join again. Okay, please join again, the same link.
And with the same ID password.
Same ID and password, you can please join again. Alright. So what is happening is that somebody has unmuted. Please mute yourself, everyone. Okay, sorry, just a minute. Okay, right, sorry about that. So what
And OR6MBN is unmuted.
all right.
OR6MBN.
Okay, is unmuted. Okay, I'll mute him. Coming back to the presentation, just a minute. Yeah, he is on mute now. Okay, so they take revenge, right? The Kauravas and Pandavas, predominantly Arjuna and Pandavas, they take revenge and they bring him. And he, with folded hands, he said, the Guru Drona says, it's okay, you can go, you can just give me half your kingdom, I'm not going to kill you or I'm not going to take away all your kingdom, you can go. But Drupada is got now lot of anger. Although he says okay and he goes away, he has so much of anger in his heart, and he actually does so many pujas and yagyas to be able to get a son who will take revenge. And he actually successfully gets a son who is Dhritarashtra and a daughter Draupadi, and the son is actually born mainly to take revenge. He knows that, Dronacharya comes to know about it. But still, when later his son, Dhritarashtra, comes and asks him to be his teacher, he agrees. So that is what you will find Arjuna is Duryodhana is reminding him, that you actually agreed to take as a student Dhritarashtra, and now see, he is standing there and made such a powerful army and such a good formation, and he is trying to taunt him. Okay, so later in the story we come to know also how Dhritarashtra, he kills Dronacharya, and before that Dronacharya has killed Drupada, and those are lots of stories. So let's come back to what Duryodhana is feeling. This whole sentence that Duryodhana says, okay, behold the great army, so expertly arranged, and he taunts him, by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. This whole thing actually tells us about his fear. Okay, and he's also doubting. So when you doubt people, you lose them also. This is also a life lesson that you learn. And after that,